Welcome, everyone. It's Friday. Congratulations. You made it. This is our fifth Welcome 45. We have the best RSVP, of course, because today's topic is germane to all of us, career. Some of you have heard me say this, but I'll say it really quick. I went to a full-time MBA program. Whatever, that was good, served me well. But when I looked around my classroom, all of my classmates were unemployed, right? They were wonderful people, high energy, learned a lot, great networking. But when it came time for internships and it came time for full-time offers, we were a tiny bit in competition with each other. Last night, 2 more people deposited. We had about 5 people deposit yesterday. So your class, the class of 27, is over halfway full. We have 142 people deposited. Your class is going to be 280 students. So we still have some people in round 2 who are getting in the boat, and then we will admit round 3, and we're going to have a great class. So just to kind of, as much as you're going to learn from Pam and her team that you're going to work with during your time here, you're also going to meet each other. You're going to meet each other in class. You're going to meet each other in the hallways. And when's the best time to look for a job? When you have a job. And why is that? Because you get to be coy. Hey, Kristen. Hey, we got a new job at UCLA. You'd be great for it. Kristen, tell me where you work again.
I work at 3 Mad Fish. It's an ad agency.
Say it again.
3 Mad Fish. We're an advertising agency.
Dream Adfish?
Yeah.
Dream Adfish. So Kristen gets to say back to me, Dylan, oh, UCLA is so great, but I'm so happy at Dream Adfish. And I have to go to the HR director and say, God, she's awesome. She's my classmate. She'd be perfect. And then the HR director has to say, well, please, just let me have a Zoom with her. And then who's in the driver's seat in that interaction? You are, because you're so happy, right? They got to woo you away. So there are a lot of reasons executives get paid a lot of money. They develop the competency. They make investments in themselves. That's what an MBA is, developing the competency to be paid well for your time. But they also develop the confidence to say, well, I'm so happy where I am. What would it take me to step into your firm? So as much as I love being a full-time MBA student, I sometimes hear people say, well, am I losing anything if I'm in a FEMBA program? My observation 2 decades into this is not only are you not losing, but you have this incredible added benefit of having employed classmates. So last night we went over 50%, 142 people, and this is what I looked up. So this is just a snapshot, right? So of the people who've already paid their deposit, we have more than 2 future classmates from Amazon, Amgen, Boeing, Deloitte, Google, Lockheed, NASA, Northrop. This we've never had before. Petco. 2 people coming up from Petco in San Diego. Disney's actually number 1. I think they're about 9 people from Disney, about 7 people from UCLA, and then the U.S. Armed Services, all branches. So you're probably not going to get hired to go into the Marines, but you might get hired by a classmate to go to Google or Deloitte or Disney or even Petco or Amazon or Amgen, of course. So the point of all of that is that there's something really special, not just what you will learn from our career services team today and as you go through, but also what will happen to your career just because of the virtue of you're an employed student with employed classmates. Last thing, we're 42% women so far. Woot, woot. So, all right. Let me introduce Pam Schulz, Executive Director of FEMBA Career Management of the FEMBA Career Management Center. Pam has been a career and leadership coach at Anderson since 2017. I've gotten to be her colleague for the last 7 years. This is a statistic that she and her colleagues find astonishing. She says it's the longest tenure she's ever had in a role, which speaks to the fluid nature of work and the uncertainties thereof, or perhaps it speaks to the fact that she's finally in the role that suits her best. After a career as a smile maker in the healthcare field, her words, not mine, she decided that was not enough and that an MBA from UCLA would be her ticket out of that job. So she is a proud alum. Intending to forge a new path in healthcare consulting, a very fine career move back then that is still one that is pursued by MBA graduates now, she instead heard the siren calls of technology and marketing. After a successful career leading marketing at divisions of Fortune 500 companies and a startup, She bookended her career with a return to consulting, which had been her first role after earning her MBA. But that still wasn't enough. It is our good fortune, and we hope hers also, that Pam decided to return to her alma mater as a career and leadership coach. So without further ado, I now hand the floor to Pam. Pam Schulz.
Well, thank you, Dylan. I appreciate that this did not embarrass me too much, and I hope it appropriately set expectations that I can meet. So welcome and thank you for taking your lunch hour to do this, and I hope that you will find it useful. Let me just get the slideshows going, and we'll be ready to roll. So we like to say that career management thrives here, whatever stage you are in your career. And I just want to do a technology check. You're just seeing the one primary slide. Is that right? Not the whole presenter view. Okay, very good. So as Dylan said, I'm the executive director of the FEMBA Career Management Center. I do not do this alone. I will introduce the team in a moment. But let me just ask you a question, and you can put your answer in the chat. Do you think you will be hard to replace? Yes or no? And I can't really see the chat, Dylan. So if you can kind of, do a shout out, like how many yeses, how many nos? Do you think you will be hard to replace?
Results are coming in. We have our first no, second no, third no, fourth no. 8, 9, 10. We're batting 1,000 with no's thus far.
Okay, you will not be hard to replace. Well, that is excellent news, because if you were hard to replace, you would be not very easy to promote. And that is something to keep in mind, that you always want to be looking ahead. And if you want to move ahead, whatever field you're in, you need to be thinking about succession planning and ensuring that the next generation is going to be able to move into your role. Along that line, let me just say that in the Career Management Center, we're always working with you about what your goal is. And I'm reminded of Alice tumbling down the rabbit hole and being confronted with many paths. And fortunately or unfortunately, the first character she meets is the Cheshire Cat. And she asks which path she should take. And he says, well, it depends a good deal on where you are headed. And Alice says she doesn't much care. And the cat says, well, then it doesn't much matter which way you go. So our role is to be a thought partner with you and help you figure out what your career goal is. You may be very happy in the field that you're in, and you want to get the MBA to enhance your skills. And we can help you with that because we have a great program called Leadership at Anderson. Some of you may have heard Matt Gorlick last week or on the recording. And all of the coaches in the FEMBA Career Management Center participate in that program. And I'll talk a little bit about that. But if your goal is to change your function or change your industry, we can help you with the tools to get there. Now, I alluded to there's more than just me in the Career Management Center. So this is our team. So we've got our what I'll call our core coaches. We have a couple of executives in residence. These are practitioners in two very popular fields. One is in product management, and that would be Pavan, and the other is in consulting, and that is Tharang. And both of them are available as functional coaches if those are your career paths. And those happen to be popular ones here at Anderson. Of course, for other career paths, you have your career coaches and you have other resources as well. Sasha Strauss is our executive in residence. He is larger than life as a brand management consultant. He consults to companies like Google and Amazon. And when he does, his presence just overwhelms the stage. And he's available for one-on-ones. And Rob Roberts, he does a couple of things for us. If you are in the unfortunate position of needing to find a job immediately, he leads our quarterly job search teams and facilitates your transition to your next role. He also does workshops on advanced interviewing and advanced networking. So you're wondering, oh, that's really great. So, what do the rest of you do? Okay, so the rest of us are the FEMBA coaches that are available to you. And I say available to you because you are not assigned a coach and you're not mandated to ever meet with a coach. It is completely self-directed. But if you want to meet with any of us, our schedules are online and you can just pick an appointment time. And there are many topics that you can speak with us about. If you are looking for some thoughts about going into a particular function, I've listed here some of the functions that we each have experience with. Although as professional coaches, we are able to talk with you about your strategy or tactics, even if we don't have experience in that particular field. I mentioned here that we're all certified professional coaches, certified by the International Coaching Federation, and we all have our MBA degrees. And I'm the only one that has hers from UCLA, but the others have, I'm sorry, I'm not the only one. I and Jackie Polk have our MBAs from UCLA. Marge has hers from Booth, and Jackie has hers from Drucker. So let me talk a little bit about the nuts and bolts of career and leadership coaching, and what does that entail? So let me just say that it's not career advising, it's not career counseling, but what it is, it's a partnership with you to help you figure out what it is that you want to be doing next. And we provide the tools and resources to help you achieve that. And it's a journey that we participate with you in as your thought partners. We don't think for you. I'd like to say that we think with you. So if you approach the conversation with the openness and curiosity about best practices and are open with us about what you'd like to achieve, we are more than happy to work with you in that regard. So let's talk a little bit about the coaching journey. And there's just 4 questions that you want to ask yourself. And one is, who are you now? And we give you the tools to assess who you are now. What skills do you have? What knowledge do you have? But then the next question is, well, who do you want to be? And that may be a harder question. You may still be in exploratory phase. And I have some recommendations later in the session today about some books that I would recommend that you read to help you in that regard. So once you figure out who you want to be, the third question is, well, what is the gap between the present state and future state? And the fourth question is, how will you close the gap? And that's where a professional coach can help you with that answer. So a little more detail there. We have 2 parts to the coaching that we do. One is for career change or career enhancement, as in you want to get promoted. The other part is on leadership development. Leadership development has to do with what are the leadership competencies that you want to improve and want to have a coach help you with that. Both of these involve your vision for where you're headed and also your intention about how you're going to get there. And so part of what we do is we can be an accountability partner with you to help you with planning out your strategy. And then within the strategy, what are the tactics that you're going to be pursuing? And those are the actions you're going to take. You can meet as often as twice a week with one of the FEMBA coaches. And we're available and we're happy every day to meet with you except on Sundays. So let me just talk about the resources during your career journey. Year 0. Okay, year 0 is kind of where you are now. And this summer, you will all be attending one of the Propelling Your Leadership Career workshops. There's a choice of 3 dates. The first one is June 8th. And it's a pretty intensive session. It's interactive. Before you attend the session, you have about 8 hours of pre-work. And those of you who have already enrolled in the online course have already seen what tools are available to assess the skills that you have, what motivates you, what kind of an environment you thrive in, so that you can understand a little bit better about who you are now. So with those tools, you'll be prepared for the career workshop. That's year 0. In your second and third years, if you are interested, you can participate in Anderson facilitated recruiting. You might know this as on-campus recruiting, but since we've come back from the pandemic, we found that employers are doing less of their recruiting on campus and are doing more of it virtually, as well as at their own premises. So we've changed the name to Anderson Facilitated Recruiting. And in each of your 3 years, you can partake of career briefings that we offer, the Leadership at Anderson program, and the one-on-one coaching appointments that I mentioned. So on the left are the tools and resources that are available to you that we will talk more about that in the Propelling Your Leadership Career. And certainly the pre-work that you do for that workshop will help you with this. But it's assessing where you are in your career and what else may be, if not a match, but maybe an insight into other careers for which you may be well suited in terms of the interest and motivations that you have. Because skills can always be developed, those can be learned, but intrinsic to you are the interests that you have and what motivates you so that you'll find whatever your next move is to be fulfilling. We also have a workshop on optimizing your LinkedIn profile. And even though we are career coaches, the consensus among us is that when faced with, preparing a resume or preparing your LinkedIn profile, which comes first, it is your LinkedIn profile. It is your 24/7 professional persona to the world. So you want to make sure that you've got that in good shape. And you'll have access to the recorded workshop where I talk about the top 10 things that you need to fix in order to be attractive to recruiters who are going to help you perhaps get to your future opportunity that you're going to find to be the very best job for you. So with that, I just want to mention about the Leadership at Anderson program. Please look at Matt's talk that was recorded from last week for more details. But each of us as FEMBA career and leadership coaches, we participate in the Leadership at Anderson program. We have a limited number of students that we can personally manage in terms of our monthly appointments as leadership coaches. But we have external professional coaches who are also certified professional coaches that we bring in to work with you on a monthly basis to develop leadership competencies that you particularly want to develop. And some of them may be about your quality of the decisions you make or driving results. And because you are FEMBAs, because you are all working, anything that you learn in the classroom or learn in career workshops or with your leadership coach, the great thing is you're going to be being able to apply it immediately the next day in your work environment. So you've got a tremendous advantage in that sense, in that you can take what you're going to learn or take what you hear in workshops and test it out and see how that works with you. So let me just give you some recommended reading. You can take a screenshot or wait for the recording. But on the left are 3 excellent articles in HBR regarding how to tell your story. So, what's important about telling a story is how do you introduce yourself, at networking events or in an interview or even in your LinkedIn profile, the section that is the About Me section. This is where you can paint a picture of who you are and what you love doing and what you find fulfilling. And you don't have to be limited by the confines of how a resume is written. The next 2 books are designed for people who are wanting to change their careers. One is Pivot by Jenny Blake, and the other is Switchers by Dawn Graham. And I recommend either or both of them. And then the last one is Friend of a Friend, and it's about the power of networks. And it's not just a bunch of anecdotes. He's actually very scientific about what it is that makes networks work. And as Dylan said, if you are looking to make a change, the time to make that is ideally when you're already working. And the time to develop your network is before you need your network. And when you develop your network before you personally need the network, you are now someone who is able to help others. And that is the best kind of connection to have. So I am going to pause here and take questions. And depending on what your questions are, we can come back with some more discussion. So how are we doing on time, Dylan?
Perfect, perfect, perfect. 100% perfect. So yeah, so this is really for all of you. There's no question too big, no question too small. Also want to introduce is Jackie here? We could also introduce Jackie Polk.
I think she's in the audience, or she may have jumped
I'm
off.
here.
Oh,
She's
okay.
still there?
Just
Okay.
one of the aforementioned coaches, Jackie Polk, who is herself a FEMBA grad, is also here. But yeah, so just kind of come off mute and ask Pam any question, please. There's no such thing as a bad question. Another way to ask it might be kind of what had you want to listen today? You know, maybe just let us know, tell us kind of what you were
Yes.
hoping to hear.
Did I cover what you wanted to hear, or do you want more detail on anything that I mentioned?
Thank you, Zaki. All right, we'll get going.
Hey Pam, and Dylan, thanks for running this session. So I had a question. I spoke with a friend of mine who did the full-time MBA program, so the 2-year program. And he had a great experience, got a great job out of it, then unfortunately was hit with a layoff and some of these tech layoffs that happened in 2022, 2023. But he mentioned one advantage of Anderson was that after that layoff happened, he was able to work with a career coach at Anderson that, helped him navigate the job market afterwards. So my question is basically like, what access to career services do alumni have after sort of going through the program? Or is that only a full-time?
No, you have lifelong access to alumni career services, and that includes coaching. So there are 2 coaches over there, and you can meet with them for one-on-one coaching. They've got great webinars. They bring in great speakers. So we provide resources and tools in perpetuity. And as an alum, you will have access to our career platform. The career platform is where employers post jobs when they're looking to hire Anderson. But there's also a network among other business schools. So if an employer posts at Wharton, for example, they're asked by the program, do you want to make this visible on the other business schools that use that same platform? So if they say yes, you'll be able to see those postings as well. So you'll have access to the online scheduler where you'll schedule with an alumni career coach, and access to the job postings. So that's in perpetuity.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks for going first. And Zaki, I'm sorry I didn't set this up well, but if you don't mind, just tell us, your company, your city, or fun fact, anything. Just it's fun to get to know.
Yeah, sure. My name is Zaki. I'm here in LA, right by the Grove in the Fairfax district. And I currently work for a seed stage startup called Archer. We develop a software that we sell to real estate investment companies.
Very nice. And what's maybe one, there could be more, but like what's one element of your professional self that you're looking forward to developing during your MBA journey?
Oh, I don't know how to speak to that answer or question directly, but I think like one of my goals more broadly out of this program is to sort of build a broader network and build the skills I need to sort of transition from seed stage or startup environments into bigger companies. That's like the goal I'm trying to get to, is going from small tech to big tech.
Awesome. Thank you for letting me put you on the spot. Now, no one else is going to ask a question, but no, I appreciate you being bold and courageous and going first. But yeah, building a network and having access to the resources, right? Once you get the entrepreneurship bug, you tend to keep it for the rest of your life because it's just fun. My father-in-law started a new company when he was 75, and he's been running it for a decade. And having access to people with capital is exactly what you will develop while you're here. And it's
Yeah.
incredible to look at FEMBAs on average where they are a decade after graduation. It's really impressive. So because your ideas will get bigger, and so will the capital you have access to through the both financial and social capital of your ever growing peer set.
Yep. And for those of you who are entrepreneurs or would-be entrepreneurs, our other coach, Jackie McNitt, she has been on the faculty of the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program and has coached many, many entrepreneurs. And she's kind of our go-to coach for people who are entrepreneurs or want to start their own business in terms of specific tools, shall we say, that are helpful in when you're doing fundraise and networking and that kind of thing. So, lest you think that this is solely about getting a corporate position, it's not. I'd like to say that we offer a wide range of services pertinent to whatever career you're in. Well, if there are no other questions, let me ask a show of hands. Are any of you thinking about tapping into the Anderson facilitated recruiting? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, well, I can spend a few minutes if you'd like and just do an overview of that. Would that be helpful? Yes, okay. So Anderson facilitated recruiting. It is employer driven. So this means it is not their events and their recruiting is not going to be at FEMBA friendly times. So this will happen during the day, during the week. So just, be prepared for that. We say that they are recruiting for entry-level MBA jobs. Now, these are not entry-level, but they are entry-level MBA jobs in that the roles, let me just say that they generally are going to be paying in the range of, on average, about 130. So if you are a director of product management and are earning north of that, it's probably not a program for you. But entry-level MBA jobs are worth considering if you're making a functional change. We have a good number of engineers in the Anderson FEMBA program, and many of them wish to become product managers. And so for them, an entry-level product management job is just fine because they want to be building on their technical skills, but they want to take it in the direction of defining what the product is going to be and how to enter a new market. With that, though, let me say that most FEMBAs find their next job through avenues other than the Anderson facilitated recruiting. Now, to participate, you're required to go through training to participate in the program. It is not automatic. The training, if you think that you want to do a summer internship, will begin in your first year. So right after the Foundations in Leadership Week, you're going to get your invitation that says you've been enrolled to start the training if you wish to be eligible for a summer internship recruiting program that's going to commence in the beginning of your second year. Now, everyone admitted as a FEMBA is eligible to participate in full-time Anderson facilitated recruiting in their third year after they've completed the training in the second year. If you do not have a permanent work authorization, you will not be able to participate in the training for summer internships. And that is because to do a summer internship through the AFR program, you must quit your job. That applies to everyone. And if you do not have a permanent work authorization, that would put you out of status. So that is a requirement you just need to be aware of. I'm going to show you the timeline. It's animated, so bear with me. So there's a lot of clicks here. But in your first year, if you are going to be doing the training for summer internship qualification, it's going to start immediately. There's a lot of quizzes, there's a lot of videos to watch, there's a lot of deliverables. In January, you would attend one of the 3 workshops that we offered. It's very interactive, and it's the first time for many people that you will be seeing other people's resumes and other people's cover letters and other people's emails to network with people they don't know. You will have 7 final documents that you will submit, and you will register for a one-on-one review session with an OCR review coach. And that's happening right now for us. We're reviewing literally thousands of deliverables. And at the completion of that, at the end of this summer for the class of 2026, they would be eligible to begin their recruiting in their second year in the program. So in the second year is when the recruiting happens for the summer internships, and employers have events and they have interviews. And then the summer internship starts between your second and third years, but you will have needed to quit your full-time job before that starts. One reason why is that even if your current employer is okay with you taking a leave of absence or vacation time, your summer employer is not okay with that. The reason is that your summer employer does not know if a conflict of interest is going to arise during the course of your summer project. And so to mitigate that concern, they just said you need to quit your job. This is not an issue for the students in the full-time program because they have already quit their jobs. But for FEMBAs who are working, that is a stipulation to participate in the program, which is why most FEMBAs do not. They participate in the Anderson Facilitated Recruiting in their third year for a post-grad full-time position, but not necessarily for a summer internship. And then there's a whole bunch of other things that happen, that you can participate in. We have what's called FAC teams, which are FEMBA Anderson career teams that prep you if you are pursuing a career in investment banking, management consulting, or in marketing/product management. So these are student-led teams led by students who successfully landed a summer internship through the Anderson Facilitated Recruiting Program. And so they're there to kind of transfer their knowledge to you in a practical way, and you'll meet with each other. In the case of consulting, you'll practice doing case interviews. If you're in investment banking, you'll practice doing investment analysis. And the marketing/product management FAC teams, they also do some casing practice because that's become more of a part of the interview process. There's a lot of things, that you'll be doing. And this is all the stuff in blue in terms of continuing to network and do informational interviews and, create your target list of companies that are particularly of interest to you, because some of your recruiting efforts are going to happen outside of the Anderson program. And remember that I said most people land their next position not through that program. So you don't want to neglect networking. And so the next set of timelines are what happens in year 2 and 3, but that may just be too much information, but I'll just click through it. That if you do want to participate in full-time post-graduation on-campus recruiting, or AFR as it's called now, you go through the training again. So the training happens again, and if you've already done it for summer internship, it'll be a piece of cake. But for most FEMBAs, it'll be their first time through, and they do the same thing that the students do for qualifying for summer internships, and the timelines are the same, and the programs that they can tap into are the same. The full-time job will start in the summer after you graduate. Just something to be aware of is if you've done a summer internship At the end of a summer internship, and if you get a return offer for a full-time job, it does not start immediately. It starts after you have your MBA. So that means in your third year, you will be unemployed. They are popularly called, well, they call themselves FEMBAs, fully unemployed MBA students. That is by choice, and that doesn't mean that they don't have an income stream, because they often put together a succession of other internships that happen outside of the Anderson facilitated recruiting program, and have projects that they can do to give them an income stream until they start their full-time jobs after graduation. But just be aware of that, and that's again another reason why most FEMBAs are not doing that. Nonetheless, they go through the training because it's a good foundational skill development for whatever stage you're in. If you're looking to make a career change, you'll know how to write a resume, you'll know how to write a cover letter. So it doesn't obligate you to seek out a summer internship. So if you're eligible to do the training, we encourage you to do that regardless. Okay, so that was a whirlwind tour of on-campus recruiting. And I can take questions, but you'll learn more about that when you attend the Propelling Your Leadership Career Workshop. If you're interested, we'll do that at the end of the workshop. So if you're not interested, you wouldn't have to stay, but we'll give you a little bit more information then. Was this helpful? Was this overwhelming? Was this like crazy making?
Jonathan, did you have a question? I saw your hand a moment ago.
I did, but it was on a different topic and different subject, so I didn't
That's
want
okay.
to, pull us away from this.
Go ahead, ask away.
I guess it was more generally what, I guess, like taking into consideration, right? It's always better to look for future opportunities while you still have a job. So I guess the question was more, at what point can we access maybe the less formal resources of, career coaching, even like mapping, looking at resumes, not necessarily going full throttle, but kind of, preparing the toolbox just so that it's ready for when we need it.
Preparing the toolbox, you have access now in the pre-work for the Propelling Your Leadership Career in that site. For the rest of it, you need to have your Anderson credentials, and that will be given to you by the IT department during Leadership Week. And so after Leadership Week, you can go behind the curtain and you can open up all those wonderful treasure chests back there. The Propelling Your Leadership Career Workshop is mandatory before you can meet with a coach. And because the summer is actually a very busy time for us, we're happy to meet with you if there is an urgency to meet with a coach, i.e. you have lost your job, or you are being restructured. Otherwise, we ask that you wait till you get your Anderson credentials and can, tap into other resources that may be helpful to you. I think we did put the layoff video on the Propelling Your Leadership Career portal, so that, if that is something that is happening or you're worried about happening, you can look at what we did in that panel discussion. And that was very recently done. Does that help?
Yeah, perfect. No, thank you. And I guess just to make sure the material that we have access to, that's on Canvas as well, right? As far as systems and platforms.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
And if there's something that in particular that you have a question about, you can send an email, and we could see about getting that to you or posting that in that portal. But we've got a lot of content. We have a lot of content online, so we're not able to just replicate all of it.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, Jonathan. Thank you for asking that.
Pam, could I put Jackie on the spot just because she could double dip as both a career coach and a FEMBA alum?
Yep.
I don't know. Jackie just, people here 6 months before school, kind of eager beaver crowd. Any words of wisdom?
Hi, all. Great to meet you. Yes, and thank you, Dylan. I'm really excited to get to meet each of you individually once you're on campus in the fall, and maybe before then, who knows? Especially in your Propelling Your Leadership workshop. In terms of what you can think about over the summer, I love what Pam was talking about who do you want to be? And I think that that is really a beautiful question to sit with, right? It doesn't mean that you have to have the answer. It doesn't mean that you have to make it this big or overarching thing of what is my purpose, but maybe it is what is it now? Who do you want to be right now? And who do you want to be when you're meeting all of your fellow classmates before you come in for the, I guess, is that August or early September? Probably
August.
August, right?
Last week of August, yes.
I think the work that I did, I was fortunate enough to also be a FEMBA student. I graduated back in 2013. And I think the work that I had got to do on myself before I entered school was really helpful and really valuable, because once school starts, it's wild. You're off to the races and there's a lot going on and you're meeting people, and it's just nice to be able to have that time with yourself and think about you before you're thinking about accounting and all the other coursework that you're going to have. So that would be my personal advice.
Great.
Yeah, I love that, yeah, and I bias towards big picture creative, but you're going to introduce yourself to 279 amazing future classmates who don't know you by and large. Maybe there'll be a couple people but most people, this is a brand new village. And, there's your future self. Everybody who gets an MBA is an executive MBA from the point of view of being CEO of your own life. Whether you're a 24-year-old daytime MBA, a 30-year-old part-time MBA, or a 40-year-old executive MBA, people get MBAs who aim high. They're going to be accountable. They're going to be in the driver's seat for how their career goes. And I love that, Jackie. That's you'll get to introduce yourself to people at the leadership week. And, you get to stand up tall and say, well, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be a product manager. I'm looking for a job in nonprofit leadership, and if you take that opportunity, these pre-months, right? It's who's that person who looks back at me in the mirror in the morning? That's the only person ultimately that I'm making the investment in. Everybody else is a secondary beneficiary of my investment in that person who looks back at me. And you don't have to be nice to me anymore. You already wrote your admission essay. You don't have to say the right answer. There's no more right answer. Now it's the answer that moves you. I'm going to get out of bed and push the boulder up the hill for the next 3 decades. What hill and what boulder? MBAs are people who move mountains, right? What's the function? What's the industry? Those are very, very personal questions. It's not, where can I make money? The money is a secondary benefit. When you are adding value, the money always flows. But where do you want to add value? And that's when Pam said the gap, right? Here's me now, here's future me. And then what's that gap? Wouldn't it be incredibly great to have a professional coach? What does Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and Victor Wembanyama, what do they all have in common? They all have a coach. Well, oh, Andy, all right.
Hi, Dylan. Hi, Pam and Jackie. Thank you for all the insights. I mean, I really agree. I really agree what Dylan just mentioned. So I'm okay. Just a brief of introduction of myself. I'm Andy Zhang. So I'll be working at EY as audit. So I also have my company. I'm also an entrepreneur. So I have faced a lot of challenges based on my experience. So my question was like, I know we have a great entrepreneur like service, and also for the career center, how we collaborate each other. Like for example, I want to go to the accelerator, right? Or I have some investor come in, and then but we need to expand or whatever. Like need some supports, but also we need to maybe hire someone, or maybe we need some legal supports in the career, like an entrepreneur. How we work together to, like, what I can do for this if this situation happens.
Okay, so we are not lawyers, and we don't provide the legal support. However, should you need it, there is a campus legal center available to students, including grad students. And depending on the legal questions you may have, they may or may not be set up to provide that, but can certainly provide referrals. You can sign up now to get on the newsletter for the Price Center. The Price Center is one of the centers of excellence at Anderson, specifically focused on entrepreneurship. So if you go to their website, just Google Price Center UCLA Anderson, you will see in the drop-down menu, click on students, and under students, it will have the resources available for students. One of them is signing up for their newsletters so that you know the kinds of programs that they have. And because we're a public institution, I believe, although I'm not entirely 100% sure, but I believe you can view any of the recordings that they have posted. And these are briefings by entrepreneurs and well-known entrepreneurs about how they did their business. So I would encourage you to take a look at what is available on the Price Center site. You can also see if the accelerator, it sounds like you're already familiar with that, so you probably know about some of the resources that are available through the accelerator. In terms of how do we partner with them, as coaches, we are here to help you with your networking, for example. And what do you say on your LinkedIn profile? When you are reaching out to a potential investor for a conversation, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to look at your LinkedIn profile, and what are they going to see? What are they going to read? So, in that preparatory phase, we can certainly partner with you on how best to present yourself. And then you can have a one-on-one with Jackie McNitt. As I mentioned, she's kind of our go-to person for the people pursuing the entrepreneurship track.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Pam. So I'll think about sign up for the Price Center. So I received the email from them, like I'm not sure I'm eligible for now. I'm not. Yeah, I'll email them. But so my following question is, like, if we want to hire the company, I know we have a handshake we can go through. Like, say we want to hire someone from our program, from classmate. So are we gonna go through directly from Career Center, or just offer something?
Oh, so Handshake is the campus recruiting program through the main UCLA Career Center. That's separate from Anderson's Career Center. So once you are an enrolled student, which will happen later in September, you would be eligible to sign up for Handshake. But you said that you're interested in hiring, is that it?
Yeah, we're looking for someone can help us. Yes.
Okay, so you can, I don't know what's available to post via the main campus career site. That's a different entity. But on the Anderson job board, you can post a job opening or opportunity for free. There is no charge to do that. So if you, let's see, I'm going to stop sharing, and then I'll just put in the chat where you can go for posting a job. So just give me a minute, and then if anyone else has any questions, go ahead and ask while I look this up.
I think Evelyn has a
Oh,
question.
yeah, I do. Thank you, Dylan. Thanks, Pam, for the presentation. Evelyn Tokuyama, I'm in LA. I work at UCLA Health doing PR and communications. So Pam, I had a question about the Anderson facilitated recruiting for the internship. So are those opportunities really focused on on investment banking, management consultant, or marketing and product management, or are there opportunities for other job functions as well?
There are opportunities in other job functions as well, but the Anderson Facilitated Recruiting is primarily geared towards those employers who are not hiring a single person. They're
Mhm.
hiring a tribe of people. And understand that their ROI is that if they're going to invest in coming to a campus to do a presentation, if they're going to do coffee chats with students, they're going to be investing a lot of time. They're not necessarily doing that to hire one student. They're looking to hire multiples. So you think about where, what industries and what functions are they hiring multiples? You know,
Right.
it's more of the traditional tracks. That's
Okay.
not to say that you won't find postings that are resume collection only, that
Mhm.
there's not necessarily events associated with that particular opportunity because they are just going to be hiring one or two people. And they will still post through either the general job board, which is available to any student and any Anderson student and Anderson alum to apply to, but through the Anderson Facilitated Recruiting, they have some requirements as employers that they need to meet in order to post through that avenue, but they certainly can, and those opportunities are there.
Okay. All right.
What
Thank
is
you.
it? What is it that you're interested in? I can tell you what I've seen in terms of that.
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, I was going into this thinking I'm going to be an enhancer, but I have talked to several graduates and current students who are about to wrap up, and a lot of them have changed their mind throughout the journey. So I'm trying to
Yes.
go into it with an open mind.
Well, I certainly know that because I came into the program thinking I was going to do A,
Right.
ended up doing B, and you know, there's a lot of zigs and zags that happen as you get exposed to new opportunities and new information about what may interest you and what you're capable of doing. So
Right.
good on you. I recommend either of those two books. If you're interested in tech, I'd probably read Pivot first, but both Pivot and Switchers are very good.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Evelyn. And in the chat, I just put the link that if you are interested in posting a job opening, just go to this link and you can set yourself up as a potential employer. There's no charge, and it will, and you can say whether it's a part-time or full-time and how many years of experience you're looking for, and then just post for free on the Anderson site.
Yeah, I see, Pam, thank you. So my company is a startup, so it's martial arts and entertainment related. So is that be any category or like just put description there?
Just put the description. However, there is an assumption it is paid, even if it is minimum wage. And if it's not paid, then we, you know, typically ask that you disclose that. And some students are interested in that just to get the experience, you know, if it's a short-term project. So, you know, take a look at the form fields to fill out. And then there's a contact there that if you have questions, you can ask her about how to post this.
Got it. Thank you so much. I'll take a look at it.
Okay, you're welcome, Andy.
Well, Pam, you gave us 8 bonus minutes. Thank you so much. Jackie, thank you. And to all of our attendees today, we just really appreciate it. I knew this was going to be the most popular session. Pam, whoop, 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 career services. So everyone, thank you for your time today. We'll record this and share it around. David Luong, I see you out there. Thanks for joining. But everyone, happy Friday afternoon. These months are precious. That's a great question. Who do I want to be? Right? This is a chance to reinvent ourselves these next 3 years.
Absolutely.
And that's a big thing. So yeah, Pam, last words are yours.
Oh, I was just saying, you know, don't be surprised if you come into the program expecting to do one thing, and then because of the courses you're taking and the people that you're talking with, you realize that there are other opportunities that may be more interesting or at least worth exploring. And, you know, we're happy to give you the tools to explore. And the very, very, very best place to start your networking is with other students. And you'll have access to the All Anderson MBA student directory across all the programs, both FEMBA, and full-time. And you know, you'll be able to talk with people who are already working at your target companies. And students are the easiest ones to talk with. They're always happy to have a coffee chat. So that's just a great place to start. And that's it.
All right.
All right,
Thanks,
thanks,
everyone.
everyone.